I apologize on the audio quality. I'm doing this via phone recording because one, it is faster for me to get this video out there to let people know. And the second reason is so that you have something to look at while you hear my voice. I might put in some images now and then into the editing software, or I might just upload it as itself. Not 100% sure on that at the moment. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk, shall we? You might be reading the title of the video and you might be thinking what's going on. This is right now, I was recording this on February 6, 2021. Now, currently right now, we would have probably gotten ourselves a Valentine's Day update or some other update. We've seen their other two games gotten an update, and yet nothing's been going on as of yet for this game. Unless, of course, you've played through or got to a certain point in the game. You might have already gotten the Nightwing thing back in January. However, you probably are seeing that there's no real communications going on at the moment. Now, with permission with the company I've been in contact with, I found some information out in the background to know exactly what's going on, and I feel like as a person who does content creation for you guys, I want to give this information out there so that everyone knows the situation that's going on. So, what is the deal going on right now? You might be curious into thinking, like, the fact that this has been so quiet, it's been too quiet. Well, there's a reason for that. I have gotten word that as of now, there is no new content that is coming to this game. In fact, the people who've made new content is no longer on the project at the moment. Now, you might be thinking on why that's the case. Is it because of financial reasons is probably the first thing you think of. Yes, but really no. For one thing to note, according to Sensor Tower, the game has been currently still making a profit for Pixowl as far as profitability goes. It's making some sort of money back, and there's a lot of material to go on with Goosebumps and all that stuff. So then you might be thinking, okay, why then have they stopped making new content of this game? It is because of a licensing agreement they had with the IP holder. The IP holder in question is that of Scholastic Incorporated. To make a long story short, back in 2017, when they made an agreement with Scholastics to make this game into a reality, they've made some agreements. Like everything when you do a licensing agreement with a company with using an IP, there's usually certain conditions in there that kind of have to be met in order to continue using the property. Now, from the basic information I was given over by one of the key people at Pixowl, they informed me on the simplest terms of what's been going on, and I'm taking this and interpreting that into my own idea. And if this is correct, I've just, from my experience of seeing it from other companies, this is what I'm getting at, if I'm understanding this correctly. The long and short of it is, they were allowed to make content for this game up until the end of 2020. After that, the game would have gone into a resting period, after which the game would slowly have its licensing go out and then be done for good. Except, and this is where the financial thing comes in, if the game revenue performance was at the cost of content produced, basically, the long and short of it is, the Scholastic is wanting to only continue with the project if a certain performance of this game and the profitability of this game had reached a certain goal. If it did, then the game could have continued on moving forward as usual. Like, if it's like, oh, it's successful, so yeah, let's just continue moving on forward. Sadly, to bring it up to, I'm sorry to say this, but the game had not met that threshold, therefore agreeing to the contract they've had with Scholastics, they are forced to not work on any more product of the game. Now you might be then thinking, wait a minute, didn't they just recently introduce the new book onto the game, the vampire breath. That happened in January. Doesn't that break the contract? No. See, that content was made right before they went on their holiday for December. So technically speaking, they were alright to do so. They are not allowed to make anything new within this year. That's what's going on right now. So what does that mean for the game? Currently, the game is in what is referred to as a resting period. So this means that the game isn't dead, it isn't abandoned, it's simply just not able to do anything with it at the moment. Currently, what the developers are allowed to do, although they're not allowed to make any new content, that doesn't stop from releasing older content they've done for the past 3 years. That meaning the old events coming back into the game and through these special books as we've been getting as of right now. So in the next coming months and so weeks and so, we will be getting new content in the game via this kind of mechanic as far as the special goes. This in particular is going to help the company still make money on this game while it's on this down period, and also keeps us busy for the time. And yes, this is also why this particular quest is so grindy. It's to keep you busy. That's why they did it on purpose, so that by the time you get to the end of this, you will be able to move on to new content. Now, the reality of it is that the game currently cannot be doing anything new because it has not met that threshold yet. However, the company is still interested in making work on the game. They didn't seem like they wanted to abandon the project outright. In fact, they're still going to support this game, like up until now. From talking to them, they seem very positive that they might get this game back up and running sometime this year. I can't confirm nor deny that, because the thing is, realistically speaking, there's only 2 ways that new content can come back into the game. And that is, number 1, what I've talked about before, if for some miracle, during our time playing this game while it's on the off period, it reached that agreed performance and content production cost that Scholastic was looking for originally in their contract, then they can continue proceeding with the game as dated. Now, whether that will happen, that is going to be determining on us as a community if supporting the game during this down period. However, there's another option that's going on right now. From what I've been told, the company is in negotiations of opening the licensing up again to renegotiate the license. This means that they are currently working on trying to get this game back up and running by convincing Scholastic to continue with the project at the moment. Now, due to in my opinion, there are certain facts that's going on right now that can convince that I think Scholastic would continue with this game. Namely because, for one, Goosebumps as of now is still a hot property. They are making a TV show as of now. That's still in the works. They haven't canceled that yet, so that's still there. They recently renewed Stein to write 4 more books within the Slappy world. So originally it was supposed to end this year, but they've just announced a new contract deal to redo this. So there's that. So as of now, the book is still going on, right? Another thing to do this is the fact that, as we all know, 2020 was an interesting year because that was when the world pandemic happened, and oh boy. And during this time, a lot of companies ended up having to cancel, delay, or even hold off on certain things originally due to certain conditions. So that could also be a factor into renewing the contract. Again, these are just my opinions and what I think is going on. The other thing, too, is that they can make a convincing case to try to tell Scholastics, like, hey, we have other games performing right now. We're actually making product. If you allow us to give us some more time, we can get the number to where you wanted to see at the end of the road. And not only that, but as of now, when they signed back in 2017, they were only just an indie company. They were only just by themselves. In 2018, they were bought by Animico brand and merged in acquisitions with them, meaning that Animico brand is their publisher. So in the case, if they want financial backing, they could, in theory, do something with that with negotiation period. So it's possible for them to do it. Again, they're currently working on renewing the license, so this game is still wanting to be produced, but at the moment, due to legal reasons of agreed upon back in 2017, they can't. Because if they do, and you might be wondering what happens if they decide to ignore that, well, then Scholastic didn't take the rights away from them, and that means this game completely has to be logged off completely. And we here don't want that, right? None of us do. So that's the reality of it right now. The game is currently in the resting period. It is currently on hold. It's on a break. Think of it like hibernation. In fact, if you want to think of it as in context, if you've played the game recently, I have not gone to this point yet, but as you know, they've said that, Count Nightwing is like a monster hunter, so we can just pretend for the time being that he's doing his job and keeping new monsters away, so everything is just hunky-dory, right? We'll just pretend as if that's what's going on right now. That's why it's so much of a break, because he's doing such a good job, as far as I know. Right, I'm trying to be fun with this, but yeah, in all seriousness though, that's the situation we are in right now, and this, unfortunately, is kind of like a shake reality. Now, the good news is, like I said, the company is interested in continuing on with this game, and there's potential for this game to come back. In fact, a lot of them, the team is very hopeful to have this come back and be able to do more content for us as a community. Now, if on off chance this game does come back, is allowed to come back, there is a good high possibility that this game's mechanics are going to be changed in order to meet the greed again with Scholastics. And that might be adding the features that their other games have, basically Adams and Snoopy, the Battle Pass. So if the game comes back, there is a good likelihood that if an event comes around, it's going to be in the form of a Battle Pass system in order to continue with this thing. And I know, very horrifying to have that happen, but the reality is, unfortunately, this mechanic they've introduced is making them a profit. In fact, they introduced it to Snoopy, and it did gangbusters for them. It has improved their game. So, when a company sees something like that, it'd be dumb for them not to do that again to their other games. So, that's the sad reality that we're in right now. This game is currently in a limbo of not being dead, but kind of being dead, but not really. So, right now, the game is still going to be adding more promotions and content and update up to this point while they're trying to negotiate a deal. Again, if they're successful in getting a renegotiation, or if by some miracle we pull through and they end up getting the revenue and the performance that Scholastic was looking for this game to be in this year, then we have to just kind of wait a bit until then. So now it's the question of what is going on with me. Well, I still have some videos about this game that's still coming up, so I'm going to catch up with that. That's probably for me. At the long run, in fact, for everybody, we can look at this as not like a break or the game is dead. Look at it as you getting a chance to catch up with this content that they're kind of introducing into the game. But I disagree with the rest. So anyways, yes, I'm still going to be doing content with this game, so there's a lot more for it. So I don't think I'm going to my hope is I don't run out of any content for this game while they're in their down period. But again, I have other videos to come along too. As I stated back in October, I do have ideas. Again, When it comes to Goosebumps in particular with the IP, I will still be talking about that, and I'll still be doing something with that. I'll find a footing that will fit, make sense, so don't worry. I can look at, again, it's something I'm going to have to look at in my off time to figure stuff out. The other thing, too, is that this gives me a good excuse to continue with the Addams Family game, and oh yeah, ooh, that is something I have to still talk about, and I did my part 1, and yet the second part has not come out yet. So this might give me a time to catch up on that one, too. So lots of catch-upping to do, so this is a nice break for me to try to get everything organized, and hopefully by the time this game comes back full swing, I'm all caught up, and we can just get the information when it starts. So there's that. For my fellow content creators, I know you watch me, by the way, and I do appreciate that. I'd like to ask you guys a favor. I'd like you to still continue on playing the game as per normal and try to find ways to give content within the game in some case. Some of you are probably still having some new things coming into the game, so there's that. So again, there's a lot for you guys to do. The reason I'm asking you to do this is because if the game still gets content going through, that might also convince Scholastic to kind of renew the contract, because it can say, hey, look, the game is still active even when we're down. These guys want to continue. So again, the more we kind of help as a community, the more likely the game is going to continue. And as for players of the game, if you're a fan of this game series like I am, and this is only for players that have financial income, I'd like to ask you a favor. If you could, at least buy a bundle. Probably one of the special books that you might find interest if needed now and then. I've been doing a series of special revisited specials to kind of give you a little bit of a what to expect when it comes to these things. But in the end, I think these books are worth their value. It gives you more time, and for the fact that we're downtime, it's going to help out. And yes, for some of the premium people, I know that means that, I've already got some of the stuff, why would I have to buy it again? Well, again, with the situation we're in now, maybe you might have to reconsider. I don't know. You can think of it like donating or something like that. Again, if you have expendable income and if you can do it, then you go ahead. But if you don't, then that's fine. Again, I know there are certain players in different countries where the value of the US dollar is ridiculous when it comes to the pricing. So I have no fault with you guys with that kind of case, because it's ridiculous. I understand that. So again, this is only for people who have expendable income and they are kind of like, should I, those people, right? I'm not talking about people who already do this stuff like I do, or people who can't. These are just for the particular people who are kind of the middle of the road, kind of like, should I, shouldn't I, right? If you like this game, maybe try supporting it. It's just something to go off by. So that's it for me. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, you can leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to try to clarify anything down. But the long and short of it is simply that the game is still fine. It's just currently resting. You view this time as you catching up and getting some old events again while we wait for the game to come back and return fully. I can't give you a confirmed date when that will happen or if it ever will happen, but there's likelihood, hopefully, to get it sooner than later. But you know how these things work. Things can happen, so we have to play it by month, right? We have to play it by whatever. But here's what you can look at for right now. Unless I make a video saying my farewells to this game isn't dead. It's still going strong, and I'm still going to make content for it regardless. Not only that, but the other thing too that I wanted to point out is that I did something down below. Down below, I will have a pinned comment that is going to take you to a Google Doc survey that I've made. This Google Doc survey is going to be asking you questions. These questions are in the form of what would you like to see in the game in future content, as well as questions on the reality of if they add their other mechanics into this game, what would you like to see and how do you feel about it, as well as other information there. The reasoning for this is so that when and if this game does come back, I can give this information to the team so that they themselves will know how they can work with the conditions that we're all in. In the long haul, at the end of the day, it's like, well, okay, if we have to go through this system, going through the loot box, not the loot box, but, the battle pass stuff and having to buy bundles and whatnot, find the right way to do it with this particular game, because it's a bit unique compared to the other ones, right? So we're all in this together, and hopefully everything goes strong. So yeah, that's what's going on here. And the reason, again, I'm doing this video is because I've played other games like Simpsons Tapped Out, and I remember they had a brief period back in 2019 where nothing happened and no one knew what was going on, and then people started to panic. So this is just so people are aware of the situation of going on right now, and that realistically people are And this is one of the other reasons why I like Pixowl as a company, because the fact that they were allowed to have me be able to say this is enough to show they care as a company, right? They want to value customer service. Although some people might say otherwise, at the end of the day, not a lot of companies are open when it comes to why certain things are there. They're really more kind of tight-lipped. So again, this kind of shows the value of stuff. So at the moment, currently the team is doing other stuff to kind of keep busy for the time being. And again, don't worry about me. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be doing updates. Grim ain't going nowhere. But as far as this content goes, new stuff, it's going to slow down a bit for now. Again, at the end of the day, that's it there. So, until then, hope you enjoy the what I have special for you for the 12th Scream of Christmas, because, oh boy, that event is going to have some fun with those videos, so I can't wait to show you that. And hopefully when I'm done that, I'll be able to get through Count Nightwing stuff and all this other stuff I'm working on right now. So again, hold on to, all this stuff. I'm rambling on at this point. So that's the situation at the end of the day. So I've been Grim, and I'll be seeing you next time for whenever Goosebumps HorrorTown comes back. Until then, keep calm and play on.